What's up, sports bettors? In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about sports betting techniques, sports betting concepts, and how those can be equated to the stock market. It's actually kind of funny. There are two things that people don't necessarily view as the same. But with that said, concepts and how you can make money betting on sports is incredibly similar to concepts and how you can make money on the stock market, right? With the stock market, the concept behind it, the idea behind it isn't that difficult. You buy a stock. If the stock rises, you sell that stock, you make the profit. That's positive closing line value in terms of sports betting. You can also short a stock and make money that way. Obviously, finding out what stocks to short, what stocks to buy, when to sell, that's when it gets complicated. But the simple fact of buying a stock, waiting for the stock to rise, then selling it, how you make money in the stock market, is incredibly similar to concepts behind sports betting. Now, obviously, the sports actually have to be played. The outcome actually has to occur, and either your bet wins or your bet loses. But the concept behind it is the exact same. And the ways in which you can consistently make money on the stock market, you can equate that to consistently making money betting on sports. Confusing? I know. My name is Matt Modi. I am a betting analyst for OddsJam. Well, I'm not a stock analyst and I'm not a trade analyst. I can equate the two. So listen in, and I'm going to tell you about how this makes sense. I'm going to tell you about how you can make money betting on sports and how it's incredibly similar to making money on the stock market. So like the video, hit that plus button, subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel, and let's get into it. All right, so the first concept that I want to talk about that can be related both to sports betting and the stock market is the concept of closing line or closing line value, also known as CLV. So in sports betting, closing line is actually a very easy concept to understand. It's just whatever the line is up until the point the game starts. So as soon as the betting market closes, whatever the spread or the money line or the total was at, that is the closing line. So, for example, the Sixers are 3-point favorites in their game tonight. When the betting market closes and DraftKings or Caesars are no longer accepting bets, the game has started. The Sixers were 3.5-point favorites. That is the closing line. Any time in which you placed a bet that had more favorable odds than what the closing line was, you've generated positive closing line value. So for that Sixers example, let's pretend at the beginning of the day, I bet them at -1.5. The line closed at -3.5. I generated positive closing line value, positive CLV. The opposite is true for negative CLV. Let's say I bet them at -5.5, and then they close at 3.5. Now I've generated negative closing line value. Obviously, you want to beat the closing line as often as possible. It's the same way in which people make money off the stock market. So the only difference here is there's no time in which the game starts in the stock market, right? As long as you're during work hours, they'll accept bets. But let's pretend I bought Apple stock at $100 a share. If only they were that low, but $100 a share. The next day, they went up to $110 per share. I have now made $10 in that transaction per share. The opposite is true if it goes down to 90 the next day. So I bought it at 100, went down to 90. I have now generated negative value for that transaction. It's the same thing in sports. So the goal in the stock market, if more times than not you are buying stocks and the price increases after you buy it, you are consistently generating positive closing line value. Obviously, in sports betting, the main difference is the games, like I said in the beginning, actually have to be played. So I could get the Sixers at -1.5. They close at -3.5. If they lose or if they only win by 1, it doesn't matter the positive closing line value I got. The bet is still going to lose. But in sports betting, if you can beat the closing line more often than not, over 50% you'll be profitable. The higher, the more profitable you'll be. And again, it's the same thing with the stock market. The more often you buy a stock and the stock rises after that, the more profitable you'll be. In sports, if I can bet the Sixers at -1.5 and they close at -3.5, I will be a profitable sports bettor. Sounds nice, right? If you're selling a stock 70% higher than what the market values it at, or you're buying a stock 70% cheaper than what the market values it at, you're going to be making a lot of money on the stock market. Again, that sounds nice. In sports betting, it's the same thing. If you are beating the closing line 70% of the time, if you're betting on odds that are 70% less expensive than what they should be, you'll easily start betting on sports. Of course, understanding, conceptualizing it is much easier than putting it in practice. How you put it in practice, that's another strategy that I'm going to talk to you about. It's called positive expected value betting and line shopping. And this is exactly where the company that I work for, this is exactly where OddsJam comes into play. We can help you place bets that generate positive closing line 70% of the time. So I have my screen shared here to show you exactly what I'm talking about. This page is just an odds page from a playoff game between NBA playoff game between the Celtics and the Bucks. This odds page is completely free to use if you go to oddsjam.com. Just go to sports, click the game, and you're good to go. So what we see, every single sportsbook is going to have their own way of pricing odds based on essentially how they receive money. If BetMGM gets a bunch of money towards the Celtics, that price is going to become less favorable. Just like if a bunch of people buy Apple stock, that price is going to go up. Same thing is true for the Bucks, but the opposite. If everybody's buying the Celtics, it's going to become more favorable to buy the Bucks. What this means is that not every single sportsbook is going to A, have the same odds, and B, have the correct odds. And OddsJam helps you identify situations in which you're getting profitable bets on sportsbooks. The way it does this is it pulls the OddsJam line. So this OddsJam line you see here, this is pulled from the sharpest sportsbook in the world. This line is pulled from the sharpest bookmaker. It's going to be the most accurate, the truest line, how odds should be priced. So anywhere in which we are getting better odds than the OddsJam line, the OddsJam perfect line, is going to be a positive expected value bet. This OddsJam line, whenever the game ends, whatever the OddsJam line prices a spread or a money line or total to be, is going to be the closing line. Of course, one thing that's really important to do is you need to remove the VIG to find out what the true odds are. So the true odds, essentially, you can view them as the stock market. Anything better than the true odds is going to be a positive expected value bet. Anything lower, it's going to be a negative expected value bet. So the true odds is whatever that me as the stock trader prices what the Apple stock should be priced at. So if it's priced at 100, I think it should be 120. I'm going to buy that stock. It's the same thing with sports betting. If I see that the Celtics are priced at plus 120, the OddsJam line has them at plus 100, that's going to be a valuable bet. But what's important to do is remove the VIG. And the VIG, like I said, is just the sportsbook's way of, it's how they make their money, right? Instead of charging a transaction fee, so DraftKings, FanDuel, they don't charge a transaction fee. You can place as many bets as you want on these sportsbooks. Instead, what they do is they juice up the odds a little bit so they can accept prices, they can accept bets from both sides. So the way you remove the VIG, you can do that just using OddsJam calculators, no VIG, fair odds. It's very easy. All you need to do is just enter in both sides of the OddsJam line. Then you will find the true line. So plus 100 and minus 110. You enter that in right here, plus 100, minus 110, puts the true line of this bet at minus 104 and plus 104. So for this side, anywhere in which we are essentially getting plus 105 odds or greater, it's going to be a positive expected value bet. And same thing here with the other side of it, the other side. Would be the Bucks side. So anywhere we can bet the Bucks at minus 104 or greater, it's going to be positive EV. Now, this odds page, as you can see, no positive expected value bet. So there is no stock to buy here. There is no team to bet on. There's no situation in which you are getting positive expected value bets. And that's okay. That's going to happen. The goal is to only bet positive EV. And if you do, that's how you can beat the closing line more often than not, if you're only betting on positive expected value bets. So as you see on my OddsJam home screen here, percent beat CLV 72.5%. The way I've been able to do this is by positive expected value betting. And because I've beaten the closing line over 70% of the time, I've profited over 12 grand, almost 12 and a half grand using OddsJam. And this is from the beginning of September till today's date, which is Monday, May 8th. So instead of going through every single play and removing the VIG and finding out if there's a positive expected value play or not, OddsJam actually has a page that only provides opportunities in which you're getting a positive expected value play. It's just this positive EV page. So you go to OddsJam positive EV, and every single bet you see here is going to have positive expected value associated with it. As you can see, there are a lot. There's a lot of opportunities here. So if you're not a subscribed member of OddsJam, what you could do is sign up for a 7-day free trial, you can get access to this OddsJam positive expected value page, and you can start placing bets that beat the closing line. If you have any questions, whether you're on a free trial or not, no matter what, if you have any questions, just go ahead and set up a meeting invite with me. You can see the link for my calendar in the description of this video. Just schedule a call with me and I can give you a demo of the product and I can answer any questions you have about the product. A couple things that I want to note. So as I mentioned, there are a ton of bets here. So one common question I get asked is, should I bet on every single play I see here? And the answer to that is absolutely not. There are a couple things you should look for before placing your bets. And if you look out for these things, it's how you can place bets that consistently beat the closing line more often than not. Number one is to look at the market width. So market width is essentially a way in which the OddsJam perfect line to signify confidence in the line. The lower numbers, the better. The higher numbers, the worse. The way you calculate it, it's very easy. So for two minuses, like you see here, you just add the last two numbers together. 10 plus 2 equals 12. This bet would have 12 cents in market width. For a plus and a minus, like you see here, you just subtract the two numbers. 149 minus 131 equals 18. This bet would have 18 cents in market width. So the general rule of thumb is anything above 25 cents, you probably shouldn't bet. So these two bets would be good to go. This bet right here, 25, is the highest it should be for a game prop. For a player prop, you shouldn't bet anything above 40 cents in market width. So this bet right here, Steph Curry under 38.5 points, rebounds, assists, 25 plus 6 equals 31. That would be a bet. This one right here, Michael Pineda under 4.5 strikeouts, 160 minus 119 is 41 cents in market width. That would not be a bet. So looking at market width is how you can protect yourself on the odds changing, and you end up not beating the closing line due to those odds changing. But overall, if you're placing positive expected value bets and you're looking at market width, that's how you can consistently beat the closing line more often than not, and that's how you can generate a profit betting on sports. So we know by using the OddsJam perfect line what a stock should be, and by using the OddsJam positive EV page, we can identify opportunities in which we are buying that stock at a lower number than what it should be priced at, and that's how we can make money doing it. And those are the important concepts to understand when it comes to closing line and the stock market, right? Closing line is just whatever the price is when a game starts. Any time in which you are getting better odds than the closing line, you've generated positive closing line value, and you've identified a profitable bet to make over time. That's how you can profit betting on sports. It's the same thing with the stock market. I think that Apple stock should be priced at $120 per share. I could buy it at $100 per share. That is a positive profit margin between the $100 and the $120. Same thing with sports betting. The ways in which we generate positive closing line value bets, we just bet positive expected value, and we make sure everything is within market width. So if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up at my Twitter handle. You see it on the screen here. You can also comment on the video and provide questions that way. Other than that, would appreciate if you could like the video and subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel. And of course, go to the OddsJam website, sign up for a 7-day free trial, and book a call with me if you have any questions or you need a demo on anything. My calendar link is right in the description of the video, so go ahead and get that set up. But as far as this video goes, that's all I got for you. So thanks for watching, and have a good one.